Uh-oh. The eye test. We turning back the clock today. Hall of Fame edition. Legends edition. Speaking of legend, you got Larry Legend, the magician, the assassin, 33, Bird, versus you know who. This is probably the most classic matchup that we can ever create. The most historical matchup, probably the first polarized matchup. Magic Johnson, Erving Magic Showtime Johnson. You got Larry Bird versus Magic Johnson, two predominant figures in the 80s, two legends, Hall of Famers, champions, prolific at what they do, different in many ways, similar in many ways. And y'all know how this eye test shit goes, so we're going to get right up into this. This should be a good one, man. I've had conflicts back and forth just watching the last few finals of these players going at it. And it's really a preference thing with this one. Both great players, man. Let's not sleep on whoever you don't choose. You feel me? Without further ado, roll the footage. So, the first thing I'm going to go with, scoring. Who is the better scorer? Now, Magic Johnson, known for his passing, known for his ability to dish the ball. Magic Johnson wasn't no schmuck for a scorer. Magic Johnson had a very decent post game. Magic Johnson was a great transition scorer as well as passer. And if left open, if prompted, he would hit the mid-range. Wasn't much of a three-point shooter at all. But if you left him open for that mid-range, which a lot of people did because he was such an extreme passer, he got that too. So Magic Johnson is a decent scorer. But with that being said, Larry Bird is a scorer, primary. You have different type of players here. You have a pass first, could score in Magic Johnson. Then you have a score first, could pass in Larry Bird, which makes the contrast great. Larry Bird is the better scorer for me, for one. Of course he shoots better. Now, in the way they play Magic and leaving him open, you can't do that with Bird. Bird will shoot it simply if he's given the opportunity alongside contested shots, such as that one right there, ironically. Larry Bird shot contested shots. Magic Johnson did not shoot contested shots outside the paint. Yeah, he had the sweep and hook, left hand and right hand. That's one thing I'll favor Magic as far as offensively. His hook shots were great. However, Larry Bird shoots contested jumpers alongside when he hops in the post. And I think that's something that's underappreciated by Larry. He was a great post guard. I feel like it's a stigma to Larry Bird, the name, because we essentially think just shooter, especially my generation of youngsters. You feel me? I'm a young buck 90s baby, so these games came before me. But we tend to think he was just a shooter. No, Larry Bird was a post player, prolific. This is why the double comes where he can make those type of passes. So Larry Bird in the post was legendary. Score easy. If you leave him one-on-one, it's more often than not he's going to get the shot. Very slow as a player, but still, he's going to get his up. So scoring, for that reason, shooting alongside with a better post play, I have Bird. I will slide post play as well to Bird as they coincide. Larry Bird was the better post player to me, though Magic Johnson could dominate in the post, actually. Like, I've seen many times, not only his rookie season where he took over, but alongside the 87 finals, many finals where he been prompted to go in the post, Magic handles his shit. Like, these are legendary players. We got to pay homage, man. We got to sit back and pay homage to the GOATs. We don't do that enough. But post play, I got Larry, though. Larry was great in the post. Hard to stop. So post, I got Larry. Transition, this is clear cut. Larry Bird wasn't a transition player. Not at all. Magic Johnson transitioned the game with the transition. You talk about Showtime. You talk about a made bucket and Magic Johnson clapping for the ball to push the motherfucking tempo, to push the rock. That's so essential, especially for a point guard, because he's dictating the tempo at all times. When I watched the finals, Larry Bird yes, he was great, but he didn't always have control of the tempo. You know, Larry Bird never took the ball up. It was some possessions where Larry Bird didn't touch the ball. Maybe, you know, somebody's overplaying him, and he may not be able to backdoor that player, stifling Bird in a manner. So transition, fast break, it's clear Magic. This is the fast break king. You talk about Brian now, great fast break artist. When I start going back on Magic, I don't think it gets any better than him, just because of his leadership ability. I would say Magic is the better leader of these two too. Not to say that Bird isn't, but I say Bird more leads by example. He kind of has the Kobe mantra where he's quiet and he's fierce and he's tough and he'll lead by example. Whereas Magic tell you, hey, get your ass over here. You need to be here. Go over here. I'm finna give it to Kareem. Or you run the wing, you run the break. I got you. I'm going straight down the middle. So as far as leadership, I would take Magic just by a slight edge, because I do like that killer in Bird, where you can see him riding as a player. You don't want to let him down. So leadership, I got Magic. Intangibles, I got Bird, man. When you talk about a tough, fierce, clutch, grit type player, you're talking about Larry Bird. I didn't realize how tough Larry Bird really was, man. Like, a predominant amount of his game is inside the paint. That's what people really don't realize. He's a low post player, low block player. And when the shot's going up, you're gonna see Larry Bird in the post trying to get a rebound, which would give him rebounding for me as well. Larry Bird, both of these players are good rebounders, but for me, I would prefer the grittier, the tougher player. Yes, if they both jump together, it might be Magic, but I feel like Bird is more prone to be in that paint. He's trying to get that. Tough shots, easily Bird. As I just transition into something else, we'll go with passing. You know who the better passer is. Now, Larry Bird is an excellent passer. I feel like the 80s was the generation of fundamentals. Most of these players were very sound fundamentally, although they didn't really use that left as much. I'll say that. And of course, the crossover, that's a nuance to the game. So we can't discredit them for not breaking ankles. But passing, most of these players were equipped with passing. Larry Bird is one of the greatest passing small forwards ever to ever live. Especially when you get him in the post, it's a wrap. But Magic Johnson, that is the best passer in history, and I don't even think that is an argument. When you talk about transition passing, when you talk about making the right play every time, look, bounce pass, no look pass, fucking the Kevin Love, the outlet pass, every pass in the book Magic had. So it's no slight to Bird when I say Magic is the best passer, because I haven't seen a passer better than Magic yet. LeBron's a great passer, but you talk about a floor general. The only person close that I can think of is Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd was just as much as a floor general as Magic. Not as flashy. Magic could hit the flashy pass every play, man. And he's 6'9". And when he gets out in that transition, Kidd wasn't as fast as Magic either. So we'll transition to athleticism. Magic was the better athlete. You talk about running out in transition. Magic was 6'9", running like a deer when he got the ball. Showtime Lakers doesn't exist without Magic Johnson. You got the Coops, you got the Worthies, you got other people, the wings, getting out and running, getting easy dunks and easy layups due to this man's brain. And we could talk about brains. Shit. To me, these two players are amazing. I want to say that, for one, the mentality that they have is definitely nothing of the things we see today as far as our players today. These are two winners, not because they've won, but because they'll do anything to win. Larry Bird would die for this shit on the court. Magic Johnson would die for this shit on the court. Passionate about their profession, which is lovely. Now, both these players are very crafty, very witty, very deceptive. Larry Bird had a lot of pump actions, a lot of trickery. When you're slow, you know what I'm saying, you gotta use that brain. And Bird was one of the hierarchies when it came to IQ, alongside Magic. To me, I would say, as far as wittiness, I guess, deception, I would say it's Larry because he was slower and he really had to get it done. But you don't get more deceptive in passing than Magic. But as far as just overall tricking your man into getting a bucket, throwing a head fake or throwing a pass fake and turning somebody around, Larry was that dude, man. Larry was active. I think Larry is pretty underrated. Like, people clearly give the edge to Magic all the time, I feel like. Maybe because I'm on the West Coast. Maybe on the East it's a little different. You know how the biases go. But Larry's a god flow, man. So, with the intangibles, I already said intangibles. So, skill set overall, that's a tough one for me. Very tough because I feel like low post, Larry Bird had more moves, but low post, Magic wasn't no schmuck. He had the hooks left and right, and he could score, and he could pass out the post as well. And I feel like I would slightly give Magic the skill just because his outside play. Well, I take that back because Bird is an outside shooter. Magic Johnson is an outside perimeter player. So he can handle out there. He's willing to do such things as pick and roll and create shots for his players. So it's real hard to say who's skilled. I feel like it's very even in that aspect. These are two very skilled players. If I had to go with one, I don't know. I really don't know on that one. Y'all have to help me out. Who's more skilled out of these two? I don't know. Bird, Magic, flip a coin for me. They're both highly skilled. Now, clutch. See, man, you talking about legends, man. Y'all got to stop disrespecting. They both clutch. This is why if I always have to reference Bron when it comes to these legends, I have to do it. Larry Bird and LeBron, they don't deter from these moments. These are clutch players. Magic Johnson, when prompted, is going to shoot that motherfucker just as Bird is. Any clutch situation, you're going to see both of them with the ball. Mandated. They don't want anybody else with the ball. That killer instinct, that mentality, that's who I want. That's who I want on my team. So clutch, for me, I'll take Larry by a slight edge just because he shoots a lot of contested shots, way more than Magic, and he hits contested shots, which for me, if you can get a hard, difficult shot off in the clutch, I'm fucking with you. Both of them got a lot of game winners, a lot of big clutch moments. You know about Magic's sky hook. You know, that game, Magic was eating that game, but clutch, I take Bird by a slight edge. Defense, man. Defense, I would probably take Bird as well, but I say it's pretty even just because the diversity in Magic. Magic can guard 1 through 5. I feel like. Not these 80s 5s. I'm talking about the quote-unquote Brown 1 through 5, where the 5 is kind of measly, like a goddamn Joakim Noah. Like, Magic can stay in front of that. So, actually, defense, I would probably give to Magic just because of the diversity. Even though it's close, because you talk about that grit and that griminess in Larry Bird. You talking about something that you want on your team. So, this is all preference right here. I'll take Magic because he can guard the 1. Bird ain't staying in front of no damn Isaiah Thomas. You know what I'm saying? So I take that for defense. If we missing any categories, mid-range, I got Larry. Magic's mid-range wasn't no joke though. You left him open, he was gonna shoot it. It's about the mindset. If they have the mental to shoot it rather than pass, a lot of these NBA players can shoot, man. Let's not fake the funk. They practice a fucking lot. 3-ball, Bird. Finishing at the rim, I got Magic, just because the simple transition play, a lot of the times they'll go to the other players and Magic end up getting a wide open dunk, wide open layup, up and under. Magic was a decent, good finisher. Bird was a good finisher too. Let's not get it twisted. An aggressor, an attacker of the rim. But I got Magic in that aspect. If I'm missing anything, footwork down low, Bird, but footwork overall, I got Magic. Magic was more prone to spin move, off the dribble, behind the back, off the dribble. These are two great players, man. I feel like it's hard choosing. It's definitely a preference. But for me, overall, I'd have to take Magic Johnson just because, for one, the team lights up. when Magic is on the court. When Magic is on the court, everybody's a legitimate threat. Like he's not just making himself better. Not to say Bird does that either, but Bird would be more prone to maybe lift his team up through scoring, and then they come follow suit. Whereas Magic, he's getting the teammates involved, and it feels so good to get a transition bucket. You got Worthy feeling good. You got Kareem. You giving it to Kareem. You talk about IQs, both high IQs too. I got Magic in that sense because if you watch Magic, every play is the right play. He got Kareem the ball when need be. It was beautiful, and I'm ashamed as a current fan because we don't see none of this shit today. We don't see none of this shit today. Running the fast break, the 3-man weave, passing, not too much dribbling on the fast break. Magic got it done. Magic told people where to be. So for me, overall, I take Magic. It's all off preference. I want my leader to make my players much so better. I want my leader to get my players open. I want my leader to have that charisma. They got different personalities. Like I told you, Bird was quiet. Magic was vocal. Magic type to come to the fucking game with a mink coat. Bird the type come with Eminem hoodie on. You feel me? Not wanting to fuck with nobody. But for me, it's very close. I went either way with this. I could have went Bird easily. You seen how many categories I gave Bird. And if, depending on the team, if I want to score first, I would take Bird. But for most cases, for me, I got Magic, man. You feel me? One of the greatest point guards to ever live. Probably the greatest point guard, in my opinion. I struggle putting anybody past him. Probably the greatest brain as well. Or playmaker. I won't say brain. It's a lot of brains. You got Bird. You got Kobe. You got a lot of elite brains. Dream. So, Bron, shit. So, overall, man, it's Magic for me. This is one of the best eye test debates I think you can get because they're so comparable yet different. It's scary. They have the mindsets equal. When I say winner, I don't say rings. I just talk about their mentality. So overall, man, I want to know who you got. It's approaching 17 minutes, probably my longest eye test, but with reason. These motherfuckers are greats. These motherfuckers are basketball gods, legends, Larry Legend, Magic. So who you got, man? It's Dame. I got Magic. Let me know why you got Bird or why you got Magic. If you've been around in the 80s, I need you too, man. I only seen a certain select few of games. I couldn't watch these players day to day. So, you feel me? Your boy Dame need help too. So holla at your boy. Dame.